if you ever leave me, baby, leave some morphine at my door. It'll take a whole lot of medication to realize what we used to have. We don't have it anymore. I once loved you from the borders of my soul. Our hearts merged so perfect like fine gold. So how did we end up with all these ashes? How could we have ignored the fire? When did us stop being? When did we stop being? But oh, how I loved you. For I saw the beauty in your beast. Prick my finger of all these thorns, because I have given you some of the best of me. And I was foolish into believing that your neglect of me was just a test for me to fight. Yet I have given you all my Muhammad Ali, yet I was the only contender in the arena, and you weren't for me. I mean, I was never meant for you. And it's not that you're not worthy of another, just not me. See, I have stitched together torn I love yous, breathed falsely through falsettos to surpass time. Blended your insecurities in my face like makeup. And I should have taken heed to the sign that God had given when you wrapped your hands around my neck to wake up, yet I stayed up, contemplating us, while thinking of you, trying to make gold once more of all these ashes. I am sorry that your false insecurities you disguise well. And I am sorry that our fairy tale never had its beginning. I am sorry. I am sorry that I once loved you from the borders of my soul. And there'd be no clear skies if I lose you, baby. And just like the clouds, my eyes will do the same.
This is Trish.
This is Marlon.
This is Chanel.
Hey, I'm your boy, Pastor Jeff, and you are listening to JBVS
Radio.
Positive Radio.
Thank you for tuning in. Hello, world. How you doing? This is your boy, Pastor Jeff. Oh, my God. Today, I'm excited about our guest on today. She's not a stranger, not only to me, but for our community. What's up, Ninon Rhome?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
She is a educator for 25 years, and I think she done it all. You've been, have you ever educated? I know you educate seniors in middle school, but what about elementary?
I don't have a background in elementary, but you know, you got to have a talent to do this job. So.
Yes, Lord, because I tell you this, to be an educator, you got to have a gift.
This is true.
You got to have a gift. And I think if I was mayor or the president or the governor, two people that I will make sure always have two jobs that I will make sure always have a raise. That's law enforcement and educators. Y'all are way underpaid. And especially in society now, the educators, not only they have to educate,
right,
but they got to raise the kids, they got to discipline the children.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the moment during this pandemic, so to speak.
And not even including what you guys are required to do with this pandemic. But before we dive into the meat of our program, let's let the viewers and the listeners know a little bit about you. So what's going on, Nina? Who are you?
I'm Ninon Rhome. This is my 25th year. We just started in our school district. And I've taught in middle school / junior high.
For how long? You've been there for a minute.
This is my 25th year, but I started out in a middle school, junior high setting. and then started in high school, which is primarily like my comfort zone, if you
Yes, it
will.
is. Yeah.
And
She look like a student now, but she's not. She a grown full woman married with kids. But anyway,
yeah,
I'm
this
sorry.
this is well preserved through the Lord.
Tell the Lord thank
And
you.
so, yes, thank you, Jesus. And I've taught at 3 different schools thus far.
Amen.
So it's been a good journey. It's been a good journey.
Mother, married,
Yes.
single.
Mother of 2, married.
For how many years?
24.
I thought I was
So,
glad
yes,
to tell it. I already know
24.
that.
Yeah.
24 years.
Yeah.
To
So
God be the glory.
yes,
Yes.
yes, and we are still kicking it.
So you have children.
I do. I have a 17-year-old who is a senior this year who will be graduating in the class of 2021, and I have a 13-year-old who is in 7th grade.
My God, busy.
Extremely busy with whatever their activities are, being supportive of the things that my husband does as well. And then there's, my own things. I have a really good friend who always says, you work too hard. You're always working. And but they don't necessarily measure us in the same way as they would measure, and I'm talking about teachers in general. They don't measure what we do the way they measure what maybe corporate America does,
Right.
or what our frontline EMTs, physicians, doctors, they don't measure it because we're just teaching kids and we're
Yeah.
just off every weekend and we get the summer off. So there's a lot of misconception there
Wow.
with education.
Can I brag on you a little bit?
Sure.
She said, sure. Y'all looking at a young lady. How many cheerleader competition you won? She used to be a cheerleader coach, and Lord, look at him. She be out there doing that thing with them.
I coached cheerleading for 12 years. And once I decided to leave that, I did as a graduation coordinator. So I did that for about 4 years, orchestrating a high school graduation with the help of, organizing and making committees and things like that. But cheerleading was in my heart.
Yeah,
Something that I did
You was good
when
at
I
it.
was in junior high and in college a little bit. And so I decided to coach. And when I was asked to do it, I was actually coaching at a middle school. I actually started out by just judging a cheerleading tryout.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the actual coach was on maternity leave, or she had to go on maternity leave, and she was saying how it was so stressful, so she was forced to go on maternity leave. And the principal was like, well, who are we going to get to replace her? And I said, well, I'll do it. And I was just subbing. I didn't even have a full-time job at the time. And so that's how I started coaching.
12 years later. Huh?
Yeah, 12 years later, started coaching, and I really wanted to do competition. And this was before the Florida High School Athletic Association started to install cheerleading as a competitive sport alongside all of the other sports that they had. So you coach them up. The summers would be filled with the girls meeting me at the school at 6 a.m. We beat the football team there, who had 2-a-days.
Yeah.
By the time they showed up, the football team and the band, we were going home. And so just putting in the work and
military
making sure,
style, out there training.
Yeah, I
you know.
mean, one of the things, like I said, even with cheerleading, the misconception is that they're just in skirts and they're not really athletes. But a cheerleader can suffer the same injury that a football player could in the game. I had a girl, all she did was do a jump, and she tore her ACL.
ACL, wow.
So it's a sport. It's physical. They're exhausting. What they do is not for 2 hours like in a football game. A football game is roughly 3.5 hours with a break in the middle. When the girls are training, even when they're on the sideline cheering on the football team, they're experiencing that same angst. It's just in a different form. And when they have to compete at their highest level, it is 2 minutes and 15 seconds worth of everything they got to put into it.
Wow.
So during that time period, I had 3 state champions and 1 national championship.
I know that, boy, you was off the chain. You look at him, you was off the chain. But I'm glad that you are a part of our conversation. And I think that we're going to be doing quite a bit more of this particular conversation throughout the year. I was really concerned about the educators when they decide to bring the kids back to the schoolhouse, the brick and mortar.
Right.
I know that we are recording. I know y'all listening all over the world, and some north and south of us, but we are recording here in Jacksonville, Florida, in Duval County School. And to my understanding, it was the state decision. If I'm wrong, please correct me. To
Sure.
bring to give them option to either do home, whether virtual, or even for them to come to school, or they could go to school a couple of days and do the rest of their schooling at home.
Right. So, in all actuality, there was a protocol that somehow happened,
Okay.
and that protocol began in Washington, D.C. There was a man that they came down from president, and he said that they have to go back. So he relayed that to the Secretary of Education, who was Betsy DeVos.
Okay.
She is not somebody who we particularly care for as
Right.
as the secretary, because she does not have any experience in
Right.
education.
That's what I thought.
She herself has not. I mean, she's gone to school, but that's about it. And she doesn't have the background.
Right, as
for
an
it.
educator. Correct.
As an educator, as somebody who has been
In the classroom.
uniquely involved in some way, shape, or fashion. Even when they vetted her on Capitol Hill, that was important to us. So there were many educators who was watching, and they asked her specific questions that pertain to the profession. Like, do you understand what annual yearly progress is versus what is a game? And she just sort of danced around, and everybody's like, that's what we're required to know. So why is it that you don't know?
Right.
So, relaying that message to her, and then it was disseminated to the governors and the secretaries of education at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of last year, we were able, once we figured out, okay, COVID is hitting, our superintendent had a plan in place, had a team working behind the scenes during spring break. I guess they yielded an extra week or so to prepare a plan for students to be able to still finish out the school year. It's really important, especially when you have seniors who, this is a group of young adults who have to go into the world.
Right.
And we've set up our system to where they cannot do that without a high school diploma. So there had to be something in place to at least get those kids out. And so what they came up with, with everybody going virtual, which a lot of different places were coming on board, almost like a stagger step type of system throughout the state of Florida, because even in each state, each jurisdiction doesn't come on board at the same time. So,
really?
Yeah, it's staggered. So, for instance, Duval County would have been on spring break, but maybe there is, a group of schools in Pinellas County.
Okay,
And they would have, they
Okay,
might have been
gotcha.
going the same time we were going.
Right.
Whereas in Miami and in Pensacola, it was completely different.
Okay.
They had, their spring break was after hours.
Okay,
So
I gotcha.
everything has
I
to be
gotcha.
staggered.
Staggered,
But
right.
so everybody was trying to figure out what is going to be appropriate and what would be or what would work for each school district within the state.
Okay.
So as that was, as the plan was being unfolded, we had our plan in place, and so we finished out the end of the school year. Was it foolproof? No.
Right, because I'm glad that you mentioned that. That's why I'm glad that you said that, because it wasn't foolproof because we had never been in this place before.
Absolutely.
And I can understand that, we all learning as we go.
Right.
But as we learning as we go, my concern was the educators, how much involvement of the decision making, that the decisions that they made, how much involvement were they was getting from you guys, the actual teachers.
Well, I do know that the committee that they put together, a couple of things
Statewide or local?
Well, I know that the superintendents probably had their own remote conversation with the Secretary of Education and how that rolls out. And of course, Dr. Green has to work closely with our city leaders at that particular time.
I like her.
But I do know that most of the way that, just for Duval County's sake, I know that many of the people who work at the district office have been in the classroom.
Okay.
So that's important
Yes,
when you're
I think
trying to
so.
put pieces together.
Right.
And that helps with that decision-making process to make sure that those things run smoothly.
Okay. So, and that's how it came about, the 3 opportunities. Do the parents still have those choices? I know schools already started back, but did the decision came from state level, or if I'm hearing you correctly, from the local district of the choices that they gave the parents, either to send their schools to the brick and mortar or virtual or the homeroom? Whose decision was that? Did they give the opportunity to the parents to make that decision? Or did they just say, this is it, and we have to move forward for what the option that they have given us? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
It started with the teachers first.
Okay.
And then once they got feedback, then they put it out to the parents.
To the parents? Okay. We have to take a quick break, but when I get back, Nina, I want to talk about the concerns. I really want to touch on that. I was really concerned when school started back open as soon as it did. So I'm your boy, Pastor Jeff. We're talking about the school system and our kids going back to school when they allowed the kids to go back to the school. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back on your boy, Pastor Jeff.
What's your plan?
More time with the grandkids.
Staying healthy.
Celebrating more happy birthdays.
Care Plus can help you make it happen. We've spent 20 years specializing in Medicare Advantage plans, and with our plans, you get benefits like a $75 reduction on your Medicare Part B premium every month with the Carefree plan, or a $0 copay for routine dental coverage plus partial or complete dentures with the Care One plan, plus a $0 copay for routine hearing and vision coverage, and a $40 monthly allowance for covered over-the-counter products. All from the 3rd largest Medicare HMO plan in Florida. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Call today. So, what's your plan? At Care Plus, we've got plans for you.
This is planet Earth. We're all in a fishbowl, kind of like this guy, only there's a whole lot less room to move around. We walk fast, we live fast, travel, commute to work. The list goes on and on and on. And then one day, suddenly, we take a big break. A human stop. And this is that moment. I mean, just level with me. Am I gonna have a job when this thing blows over? Is there something that I could do from home? You're my top dog. Be innovative. If you email me the client list, I'll send out the invites for the internet seminar.
I feel really, really good about my ideas.
What?
Show me what you got, Rick.
How do I look?
Handsome, but do you really need the headphones?
What are you doing? Productive sales webinar. Who's he? My company paid me to watch him.
And I just want to say thank you for joining me on my very first online sales seminar.
Ooh, smooth. I think he's charming.
How's it going with the webinar?
I'm seeing progress, but I'm feeling excited about it.
You have a lot of viewers.
Well, still new. I guess that's all. I'll see you next time.
It's a date. It's a date.
It's a date.
And you're busted.
Wait, don't leave. Oh, you don't look anything like your photo either.
You what?
Hi.
Oh!
The doctor that I have now, he's a great guy. He really is. The fact that the doctor gives me his cell phone number lets me know that he's accessible. Since I've joined, my health is improving quite a bit. My sugars are in control. I've lost a little weight. I'm doing well. What I like about it is the fact that everybody is so personable. The staff makes you feel so welcome when you come in. The staff treats me like I'm family. I've done a walk-in a couple of times. I've also called on the weekend and gotten good advice about what to do for emergency situations. So they're there for you. A lot of seniors don't have places to take care of them as the people here do. It's just a great experience.
Listening to JBV Radio.
Positive Radio.
Hey, I'm your boy, Pastor Jeff, and I would like to say thank you for tuning in. Hey, I'm your boy, Pastor Jeff, and I have Ninon Rhome, Educator for 25 years, and we're just having a conversation about this school year, this upcoming school year. I'm just a little concerned with our kids that's going back to school during the pandemic, and I was wondering, or I've been asking, did they let our babies go back to school too soon?
That remains to be seen. Yeah. I think the average educator would say yes.
Yes.
I honestly believe, because we know, I think in that decision-making process, even though we are the ones who are leading, right. And facilitating instruction.
Yeah, in the classroom.
In the classroom, I think there was a component in which was not explored, and that was the fact that we are also parents.
Yes.
And, so we're having to make decisions based on, okay, well, you're going to have to go back. in those choices, the choices that were presented to the parents, I felt like they were the best choices.
Oh, you do?
That could be offered.
Okay. With the unknown.
With the unknown and given the circumstances. Right. However, on the flip side of that, the choices that were given to those of us who have to deliver that instruction, we did not have real choices.
Okay.
So, and it's hard to sort of explain, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible.
Help us.
So there's a full-time virtual, and then there is the virtual version in which a student is still connected to their school. And then there's the third version that is offered, and that is the hybrid, where they go back to the brick and mortar eventually, but right now it is a hybrid version. So they show up in the building, and then there are 2 days that, that they're not.
Okay, now let's break them down and explain to us again each one of them.
Right.
Each one of them one by one.
Okay, so for the for what is called a hybrid, and this is for middle school and high school.
Right.
They have a hybrid version, and that is parents wanted their children to come back to school, to the brick and mortar building, so that they would have some type of interaction. So for the middle school, depending on grade level, because I know that 6th grade has full time because they're transitioning from an elementary to a middle school process. But the other 2 grade levels of middle school, they are in the building 3 times a week, and then twice a week they're at home. That's their hybrid version. The high school version, and I can only speak for the way it's done at the building where I currently work, and that is in my building, it's split up by grade level. So you still have a group that comes in twice a week, and then 3 times they are at home. So there's 2 days a week that were dedicated to, let's say, 9th and 10th grade, and 2 days dedicated to 11th and 12th.
Okay.
So it's technically roughly about half of our population on a given day. In that particular school on a specific day. Not all at the same time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right. And so that's the hybrid brick and mortar version.
Okay.
The second version is what they have called the homeroom. And the homeroom is where parents have chosen that their student will just be doing virtually. These students are all connected to their school. So they have whatever scheduling was made. And again, this is between middle school and high school. What their schedules have been made, and they get to see the teachers that eventually, if things work out or if a parent chooses to, the parent has the option to say, okay, now these kids can come back into the brick and mortar. Okay. And then there's the third version. The third version is a full-time virtual. That full-time virtual does adhere to the district calendar. So the students will still have district testing and all those things that come along with it. However, they are, in a way, not in part of Duval County, if that makes sense.
Okay, I'm following you.
So those students will be there for the entire year regardless.
Oh, regardless?
Regardless.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they are going to be there regardless. Now, if they are a magnet school student where their parents have gone through the choice office for them to be able to go to an early college school, or if they got into one of the art schools, one of these specialized program schools, then their seat is being held for 1 year.
Really?
Their seat is being held, but they are full-time virtual. They have to finish at the end of till June. Okay.
All right. So if they are there full-time, and as an educator and a parent and a husband, and I know what we've been dealing with your parents lately because they're of age.
Right.
What, how can I say, the assurance that you have that when are the kids being tested by temperature when they come to the school daily, or what health safety have been, what provision that the school put in place for the safety of the educator and the other students? I'm trying to make it plain.
No, it's fine. You
okay.
got it. You
okay.
got it. So actually, every employee has to have their temperature checked. We have one entryway. So
for the whole body of the school that's there?
Or
just for their staff?
For the faculty and staff. Mm-hmm. We have one entry, and then we have one entry for the students.
Okay.
So, and this is just, again, in my building where I work. We have one entry, and we all have to have our temperature checked. And then right now we're just signing COVID paperwork, and we have to, sign that as we enter. And then we're able to, we must have on our masks. It's required.
Throughout the day?
Throughout the day, the entire day.
Okay.
As long as we're social distancing, we're fine.
Right.
As far as provisional equipment, we received gloves, we received wipes, we received hand sanitizer. The wipes and the hand sanitizer is primarily for the students themselves, because and so I'll talk about that in just a second.
Okay.
And we also receive face shields. The faculty and staff we all have face shields, and we also have at least a week's worth of masks that that can be cleaned and we can just reuse. So that was part of what we got as far as the faculty and staff are concerned.
If I'm getting a little personal, that's something that they provided for you guys, or y'all had to pay for? I'm quite sure, because y'all been going to your own pocket for supplies for years now.
I can tell you right now, there probably wasn't one teacher that bought extra stuff just because we already know what we got to do.
Yeah.
And if this is what we are, this is what is required of us, then we already knew this is what we're going to need. So many of us had already started going out and buying stuff. Some, like I know one of my colleagues bought a portable dispenser, like you see at the hospital when you see them go by and they just put your hand on it. They bought portable dispensers to put outside their classroom, because we are responsible for making sure that every student puts on hand sanitizer before they enter our classroom.
Okay. Well, you mentioned, and that's why I asked earlier, before your classroom, but to get to your classroom.
Right. In order for me to enter the building, I have to have my temperature taken, and I have to fill out COVID paperwork. For students to enter the building, they enter through a separate entrance. Do
they have to be temperature checked?
Every student gets their temperature checked, and I'm not really sure. They all have to have a mask for sure.
While they are in the hallways, or
in the hallways,
changing classes?
Well, because we know there are no lockers, so there's no going to a locker or anything like that.
All right.
Students have their own books. They've limited their. We have to limit their comings and goings.
Okay.
Normally in any school, you'll see a few kids, going to the restroom in the halls or whatever.
Right.
So we have to really limit that type of transaction with the students as much as possible. But our students have two entryways. Of course, there are the students who are getting off the bus. There's somebody there to greet them off the bus, to take their temperature as well, to make sure they have a mask.
So the walk-in, the bus riders, so when they when the bus arrives, they will have someone there.
There's somebody there to take their temperature, to come off the bus before they can enter campus. Again, the guidelines are if they have a 100.4, anything at a 100.4 or better, they have to be quarantined. So they also have a place on site. There is a location on site on every campus where a student can be isolated. Parent is called. They must be picked up immediately off campus.
Wow.
If it is the case, if it is that as soon as they have arrived, for sure. But if, at some point a child is suddenly, right, they still try to quarantine them. We are not aware, will be made known that, obviously there has been a case, but we won't know who for, of course, privacy reasons or anything like that. And then, of course,
the HIPAA law, I guess,
right?
yeah.
And of course, you'll be, then we'll go into a quarantine situation.
Okay, so when the student arrives, temperature check, regardless if they are bus in or car rider.
Correct.
They have to go through the same process, being checked with the temperature, and immediately they can't mingle. I'm glad to hear the fact that they don't have a locker to go to.
Right, right.
Are they going, by being a high school, are they going to minimize the transfer in the classes, or they going to keep them in one designated class?
See, that's the difference. The reason why it took so long to come up with the whole system or this process is different. For elementary, the teachers are going to their students. In high school, that's a little difficult because they have 8 classes.
Exactly.
8 different classes in different locations.
Correct.
And they're not even, like, one group of kids that may see me, they could be in science or history or, in gym. So the students still have to move and go to class. So the provisions is I greet them at the door with a wipe and hand sanitizer. And even if they want to use their own, I have to watch them do it in front of me before they enter my classroom, and they must have a mask.
Okay. We got to take a break. A lot of information. And I think that it is needed.
Right.
As a parent. We have a child, Reese, be 13. He's going into the 7th grade. And I'm really concerned. But anyway, we'll talk about that. We got to take a break on your boy, Pastor Jeff. And we are talking with Ninon Rhome, an educator for 25 years. And she just giving us some information about this coming school year, how the school is really dealing with this pandemic called COVID-19. So we'll be right back.
The doctor that I have now, he's a great guy. He really is. The fact that the doctor gives me his cell phone number lets me know that he's accessible. Since I've joined, my health is improving quite a bit. My sugars are in control. I've lost a little weight. I'm doing well. What I like about it is the fact that everybody is so personable. The staff makes you feel so welcome when you come in. The staff treats me like I'm family. I've done a walk-in a couple of times. I've also called on the weekend and gotten good advice about what to do for emergency situations. So they're there for you. A lot of seniors don't have places to take care of them as the people here do. It's just a great experience.
Hi everyone, I'm here to share my story. I've only known superficial relationships.
How was your date last night?
It was good, I guess.
When you meet the one, there'll be no I guess about it.
A few weeks ago, I met a guy. Hi, I'm Victoria.
Hey.
So you see anything you like?
Oh, peanut butter mocha looks great.
What's up with this Jason guy?
I'm guessing you're not his type.
Is he alive? Then I can be his type. I went after him, pretending to be someone I'm not.
Jason's organization builds houses. That's what you're volunteering to do. Most likely, he's a Christian if he works for them. He's probably not going to date someone who isn't.
It won't be a problem. I'll just pretend.
My name is Jason Holman. None of what we do is possible without legs. And arms. Gotta swing those hammers.
He's going to figure it out eventually.
By then, he'll be totally into me.
She might be a handful.
You think? I'd say she's more into hunting guys than building homes.
Were you planning on working today?
Absolutely. Got my own tools and everything.
Yeah. No.
Have you swung a hammer before?
Did he buy your whole faith act?
If I want to play on his field, I have to play by his rules.
You can't fake faith. We got a lot done this morning.
Praise God! It's amazing how you actually build a house in such a short amount of time. While I was pretending to know what I was doing, I actually started serving.
I'd like you to meet the new homeowners.
I asked God to provide a home, and here you are, sacrificing your time to help someone you don't even know.
I can't believe I didn't see this till now. That's what Home-Based Ministries is all about. You're kind of mysterious.
You're kind of a flirt.
Moi?
I was in a relationship. I found Faith, and she found a reason to dump me.
So that was a deal breaker.
Victoria.
Hey.
Just came to say hi.
Hey, Victoria?
Do me a favor, just stay away. You're right about Victoria. Oh, man. I'm sorry.
If you want people to like you, you let them get to know the real you.
You sure about this? It's just easier to stick to what I know. I don't want to be the old me. I want to be someone that pleases God and considers others while finding out who I truly am.
I heard what you said in there.
Yo, thank you for listening to JBV Radio. This is Marlon.
Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Nina, we want to thank you for a lot of information that you are giving us.
Oh, you're welcome.
I want to ask, what can the parents do to help you all, the educators, the teachers? I mean, I know you're concerned about your health.
Correct.
Dealing with a lot of kids and going back to your family. But as a parent, what can we do to help you all?
Because of, you all have a stake in this as much as the rest of us, I'm sure. One of the things is making sure if you have it, make sure your child has their own hand sanitizer. I think most parents probably did so, just kind of as a secondary thing, but because they can't share materials. So it's really important that they have their own hand sanitizer and that they have their own materials, especially if they're a hybrid student who has to come into the building. They need to make sure that they have their own materials. If they, the books have been given out, and if, I don't have a pencil, can I borrow a pencil? That's not going to happen. I mean, if a student, they have to get it from me. They can't even borrow from a peer anymore. They have to borrow it, basically, not necessarily borrow, but if I had a pen, I'd give them the pen and they have to keep it.
Oh,
everything
you can't
is
give it back.
nothing.
Whatever they receive, they have to keep it.
We are trying to do more so as paperless as possible.
Yes.
There will be, I teach English, so there are moments. Yeah, there are moments when I need to see what they're writing in live time, and so that's going to be a challenge. And that's kind of up to our discretion as to whether or not how much we want to put paper in their hand or receive papers, how comfortable we are with doing so. It's still very early, so that's, again, something that has to be considered and thought out. For those parents who are at home or your children are doing Duval homeroom, there is some form of etiquette. So if you're a parent and you have Zoom meetings, you might want to share with your son or daughter what's the etiquette for being in that type of setting.
Yes.
Because we try to put those things in, to introduce. It's a lot of information. I mean, my syllabus probably went from 2 pages to almost 4 pages because I had to consider that there are students that I serve who will be at home online, but I also have the ones that will be in front of me.
Right.
So you have to have rituals and routines that fit both modalities. So in that respect, sharing with them what is the etiquette, impressing upon the students that you're still in school, especially if they are the homeroom students. We talked about having a space for them where they're sitting up and being engaged. So, and that can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah, because some family may not have a room
right
that just for them to have schooling.
Right.
They sitting, or they probably have to share.
So, I made my kitchen table pretty much the dinner table is what it is. There's
their classroom,
that's a classroom, and if that's what it's going to be, then that's what it's going to be. No extra, devices, or try not to have television and other distractions, because unlike the way we finished last year, the beginning is always different because it's new.
Right.
It's new curriculum. It's new teachers. It's new ways of doing things. So it's really important. This is where I think that most parents' concern was, how are they going to learn? Are they going to be doing? They were teaching themselves. That was some of the feedback that you could hear about from parents as I'm out and about in the community, how they spoke of the way we went into virtual at the end of a school year. But the end is definitely different from the beginning. And so it's really critical that you encourage your children to be engaged, to make sure that they are in class on time, whether they are physically present on time or whether they're virtually present on time. There's been some adjustments in the student code of conduct to reflect such things.
Imagine, yes.
Because there's still regulations of how students conduct themselves, what they can say, what they can't say. And I had an incident at the end of virtual where a student just hauled off and just gave the F-bomb. And I said, "Are you sure you want to keep saying that?" And he was like, he gave the F-bomb and then he logged off. And I screenshotted it and I had to include it with this referral. And it's written, and then the entire class can see it. So it's, you have to talk to students about, even though you think just because you're at home does not mean that the rules will not be enforced.
Right, because, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I can't imagine where a mother have to go, or a parent. It could be single fathers as well as single mothers, but as a parent have to work and trusting their child or holding up their student conduct.
It is difficult. I have that experience because I have to leave every day.
Yeah.
And so I will text. Literally, I will take a moment to just, how are you doing? Were you able to do this? Were you able to do that? Because one of my daughters really struggled at the end of last year because
a lot of students,
because of that non-contact.
Right.
And so just knowing what that looked like, it's like, okay, so she's a little bit more comfortable. And because it's the beginning, there's a little bit of leeway. There's the training. So for instance, in our first faculty meeting, one of the things that if there's something that we're using, we must train those students on how to access that information. We must take a moment to show them as best as we can, here's how you're going to go from here to here to here, so that this is a way of them to be comfortable, but the learning is continuous.
Okay.
In this time frame. So we do understand that that some things are limited to parents.
With that learning, would it be lack of, if they doing virtual at home, than those that's in the brick and mortar?
Absolutely not. So some of my colleagues have a split. They are literally have students sitting in front of them, and they have students that they're teaching virtually
at the same time.
So because of this, it's just a unique situation, but they have to tailor their instruction that way. So of course, we have technology in our classrooms where we can, maybe show what, if we have something on our large screens or on our smart boards or our smart whiteboards, then that information can also be shown through our laptop so that every student is seeing the same information at the same time. So when we have a live meeting, we can share our screens to show this. I know for us, because our district uses Microsoft,
right?
So we use Teams. Teams has us a whiteboard that we can write on during a live session, just like it would be a whiteboard if they were physically in the room.
So a parent or a student can't say, well, I didn't know this, or they didn't taught me this, and those that was in the classroom get more detail.
Correct. The only way a student could say that is that they were not present. So when they are even live, we can see all of their faces. We also see when they log in by name. We can.
So as you can see them, they can see you. So
I mean, if I'm giving instruction, I want them to see the board. They may not see me, but they can hear my voice and they know that I'm live.
And they actually see that board, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's
so
what
they're
I'm
receiving that instruction.
Mm-hmm.
So I can print who was present in class at that particular time, because we still have to take attendance.
Okay, good.
We still have to take attendance. And if a student decides, well, I don't want to hear this anymore, and they leave, and they're virtual during class time, they're now skipping, and there is a penalty for that via the student code of conduct.
You know, I was getting ready to leave. If there's a accountability while they are virtual at home, if they just want to go back to bed or want to watch TV and not really stand in school the whole time, what is the consequence for them just shutting off the computer?
So I know that at the end of last year, that parents were called, guidance counselors, and some of our paraprofessionals were tasked with the job of trying to reach out to students and to parents to find out what's happening, what's going on, what might be the home situation as much as possible. So some of that actually will still happen during this school year, as well as a way of accountability. The state, it's too far away to really discuss with any depth. But,
yeah, cause I can understand trial and error, because this is so new.
Correct. And the goal is we will eventually have state testing return. So, for instance,
within this school year?
Within this school year.
Canada, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we haven't, heard from the state as of yet, because of course they're monitoring the same way, every mayor and governor is monitoring COVID numbers, because at any time, we could be back home full time virtually. The best part about what has been installed for right now is that students kind of get a taste of that already. And if they're already having rituals and routines, if they're already knowing, I can't just, decide I'm going to check out, or I know I got class, it's already started. So it's not, like I said, when parents were complaining, they were teaching themselves. That's not the case right now.
Right.
That's not it, because it's brand new. Everything, we've got to get what we can get into them. So if we establish those routines, it will be easier to transition if we had to be shut down again.
Okay, so you are very confident with your opinion of 25 years that education will go on.
Absolutely. We just have to do it differently.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay. Do you feel that those students that have to go into the brick and mortar, do you feel that they will be safe?
I think if they're exercising personal responsibility to a degree, and we can only expect so much.
And I know that the parents got a big part in this.
This is true. However, I've said this for a long time before COVID ever hit. A school belongs to the children.
Oh, yes.
You raise them.
Yeah, I believe that.
You give them, you instill in them morals and values. You teach them, very rudimentary things that will help them along the way. But when they get out your car, when they put their foot on campus, when they get off the bus, they are in their element.
Right.
And and you just have to pray that what you put in them comes out of them.
Before we go, let me ask you this question. this question, do you feel safe and comfortable for where you are at this beginning of this school year with the unknown?
It does present its level of challenges for me on a daily basis.
Okay, in the school and at home, because of the position that the school system where it is now. I can understand that will bring many challenges, but I know we have a long way to go.
Absolutely.
But as moving forward, we need to be praying for you guys.
Absolutely. We welcome those prayers.
Yes. Thank you for answering hopefully my question wasn't too tough.
No,
but just
not at
really, so what you would like to share that I didn't ask before we go?
Just know that we are doing our very best. One of the things I told my own students is please be patient, and we're all going to have to exhibit flexibility.
Amen. And I would like to encourage the parents. Please get involved more now than ever. I know in the military, especially in combat, we don't want to leave nobody behind. And definitely with our children and your students, that education is so important more now than ever before, that we don't want to leave any children or any child behind, especially mine personally. And I think that in order to help you, I have to get involved.
Absolutely.
To give my only child that's left in the home. Everybody else gone. But the only one that's left, he's the only one that left in the home that's in school. And I have to instill into him, this is what you need to do, not only to help you, but to help others.
Right.
Amen?
Absolutely.
You agree with that?
I do.
I'm your boy, Pastor Jeff, and I want to thank Ninon Rhome, the educator, for the past 25 years. And if you have any concern or comments about our conversation, our discussion about this coming school year, please give me a call here at JBV Ministry or here at the office. Our number is 904-469-2615, or reach us by email, jbvministry1@gmail.com. If you want to reach the show, more information about the show, you could do so by email, Pastor Jeff at jbvshow.org. And we're looking forward to hear from you. I'm your boy, Pastor Jeff. And remember, love isn't love until you give it away. I ain't got but mad love for it. What are you going to do about it? Hey, listen, this is JBV Radio, Positive Radio. I love you. Peace. I'm out. Shalom. God bless you.